Hello and welcome to Pleasureweight Go Live. This is our live showroom. Here you can connect with a live agent that'll give you a one-on-one personalized tour of any of our current models. To connect, just click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You will be connected to one of our live agents where you can have a one-way live video call. This means you can see us, but we can't see you, but we'll still be able to hear each other through your device. By using Pleasureweight Go Live, you'll be able to ask all your questions about any of our models and get answers in real time. This means you can check out the size of a cabinet, how big is a bed, how far will that seat recline. We can show you all those features at Pleasureweight Go Live.
Get your
You silence the doubters. You get the best tools. You work with the right people. You look to the future and bust through.
We're on now.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're here at the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. Semifinals. Eugene Hritzek and Dean Kleiter doing some observing and commentary during the streaming production. The game that we're featuring today is between the game between Rylan Kleiter and Daymond Bernath. It's an A semifinal.
Yeah, and Daymond just came off of a big win there over Scott Manners in this morning's semifinal or quarterfinal, I guess, to get him into the semi. They had to have a quick bite to eat and back on the ice.
Yeah, they had a pretty busy schedule this weekend. I think they played last night and then again this morning, so they should be well broke in.
And in our other semifinal, we have Michael Kars is up against Ben Gamble. So the winner of these two games will advance to the final here this afternoon.
Yes, Ben Gamble uh, made his way through, I think, the A, did he?
He came through the A event,
Yes,
correct?
A qualifier, and punched his ticket straight to the championship semifinals. Michael Kars had to play this morning against Ryan Dice, and
And that one did come down to last rock. Ryan Dice had a little draw to the forefoot, but he had to. It was a touchy one to get through a hole and just didn't quite curl up enough. And Michael Kars is off to the semifinal.
yes, Michael, I was talking to him. He said they've just been scraping by in every game, so they know how to deal with the pressure.
So Trevor Johnson here had to throw his second rock, and number one looking to run the blue straight back. And he does make connection and a very nice shot.
Steve Laycock is skipping in place of Rylan Kleiter. He's actually the fifth man and coach this year. Rylan Kleiter's playing junior football with the Regina Rams, and they were on the road this weekend, so Steve got to fill in.
Yeah, Steve's been a big part of the team. Even last year we had him filling in quite a bit, and to have him working with the boys again this year, more of a full-time basis because he's not playing with Jimmy Cotter this year.
Right.
It's been a real treat for the boys.
Yes, Steve has certainly got the credentials. I'm not sure how many Briars, but he's been to several and just spent a couple years curling with Jimmy Cotter out of BC, which they were at the Briar also, but now Steven's back in Saskatoon playing with the former provincial junior champions, the Rylan Kleiter team. And we see
Josh Madden looking to play the hit and roll, and is this going to curl up? Curls up just enough to stay in the house.
good shot.
So Daymond Bernath here is looking pretty good for a possible force, and he's going to ask his third man, Bryden Tessier, to remove this rock.
They're going to have to make sure they stick around if they roll out, of course. Steve can call the hit and stick on the other side. Oh, this one's looking good.
Bit of a roll in too, and the angles are
Well
lined up
thrown.
in such a way that there
Great
is no
shot.
double.
No. Steve will probably be looking to hit and roll over, maybe set up a double with a shot coming up. But
I think so, and if he's okay to tick that blue over a little bit too, just to take away that
exactly.
double and roll maybe to the top forefoot, I think would be a really nice shot.
Well, we'll see what Josh has in him, whether he's got this. I'm sure he has. It's just going to be a matter of whether they can pull it off.
One of a few left-handers on the ice today.
It's got to be close.
Right to nose, very nice shot. However, that does leave a fairly easy double for
Yeah.
Daymond. If there is such
Double.
a thing as an easy double, Gene.
Well, when they're that close, they're a little bit easier than others. But the double, if he makes his double, there's a good chance that he's going to roll over to the center of the ice, which in turn will set up a double back for the Kleiter team.
So Daymond here is probably one of the favorites for the junior championship this year. He'll be playing his final year of that at the end of October. They'll be in Tisdale. So it should be a really good competition.
Yes, I think there's 6 junior teams out here this weekend, or
I believe
junior
it was, yes.
ex-juniors. Well, this
Okay, so there was a bit of an error or break there for Team Kleiter.
nose hit gives Team Kleiter shot rock.
However, that they're figuring, where do we want to roll this so we don't leave a double, right?
For sure. And a nose hit won't give them shot rock, so they have to roll. So it gets dicey, because if you roll into the center line,
or do you try to roll right across? Do you try to roll right under?
Yeah, if you roll right under, they could run the red one straight in for a double. If you don't roll quite that far, you leave across the house double. So I think the best shot would be to hit and roll over edge to edge.
Edge to edge, I agree with that.
Edge to edge with a red rock, and that leaves it a little dicey for the raised double and doesn't leave the cross the house double.
That's right. Steve Laycock, who's he's a 9-time tankard champion, and
9 times.
And 7 of them were for Saskatchewan and 2 of them for BC.
Wow. Impressive credentials.
And also a former world junior champion.
Right.
Which also is a big accomplishment, and he understands where these boys are at right now.
Yes.
So a break there for Team Bernath as Steve Laycock rolls out. So Bernath will try to hit here and lie too.
It'll be interesting to see where this rock ends up after the hit. If he spills in a little to the inside, it could leave a red double and a blank here yet. Even a nose hit would leave a red double and a blank.
So the 2018 Saskatchewan Winter Games champion, Daymond Bernath, with his last rock of the end. Looking pretty good. And he sticks it to sit too.
Yes. This will put the force on, so Steve Laycock will have to hit and stick to count the 1.
Daymond probably rolled a little further than he would like to have. That way it doesn't, the shot for Steve wouldn't have been quite as easy, but now it's just a stick and take his 1.
And I think they'd be happy with that, to get away without the hammer by giving up 1. You're always happy when you don't have the hammer and you only give up 1.
Especially in that first end, right?
Yeah, especially in the first end. I've often said to my guys, when we get to situations like this, you always have to pay the price for the hammer, and if it's only costing you 1, consider yourself lucky.
Matt's calling a little bit heavier than he was anticipating here. Will it come up?
It's starting to come down now. Will it hold on?
And it rolls too far. So
a bit too far. So that's a steal of 1 for the Bernath to go up 1-0 after 1 end.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be a part of your community. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
And we're back. End number 2, the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic. A semifinal between the Rylan Kleiter team and the Daymond Bernath team. First end, Steve Laycock throwing skip rocks for the Rylan Kleiter team. Hit and rolled a bit too far and gave up a steal of 1. So
Matt Tyon here with his second rock, the full-time student at the U of S in his second year of vet med school. Took him a few tries, but with good marks and some really good work ethic, he's got in there. So pretty big accomplishment to be able to be an athlete like this and also
no kidding.
get into a
The time
college like that.
commitment is phenomenal. I know, Dean, of course, you've coached these boys for several years, coached them through 4 provincial junior championships. I think that's unprecedented in Canada, definitely Saskatchewan, and you would know the work ethic that these guys have and the time that you guys have put into curling over the years for somebody to be able to go to medical school and accomplish what they are is phenomenal.
So we got Jack Reed throwing the lead rocks here for Daymond Bernath. He's also a full-time student at the U of S in the finance business side of things.
And just threw and got a nice little hit and roll here.
Very nice shot.
Steve realizing they're down 1, they have the hammer, he's not running it back. A different score, different situation. You'd be running the red one back onto the red one. But whenever you're trying to get extra points, any rocks in play are your friend. You just got to find a way to make them friendly for you. And this is a situation where Steve Laycock is calling the corner freeze.
Are you a big fan of that corner freeze on a rock that's in front of the house, front of the tee line?
I'm not a great fan of it because it's so hard to execute. So but I personally, I would have tried to put it, I think coming right on top of it is just as good as anything, because now with the 5, with the curling the way it is with the 5 rock free guard zone rule, you're running run backs so often. The teams are so good at the run backs. So if you can park one right in front of the opposition stone, in front of in the top of the house, I think it's a good situation.
David Baum here, Daymond Bernath's longtime second, looking to remove the blue rock and perhaps roll to the center a bit. And David is an inventory manager at Construction Fasteners in Saskatoon.
Must have a good employer. You have to be a considerate employer to be able to work and curl at the level that these guys are curling at. How many spiels would they have lined up for the or events, I should say, because you're going to have play downs and spiels, which may lead to more play downs and spiels. But
I think they said they've got about 7 for sure, and then depending on how you do in a few of them.
yeah,
I was talking to Daymond Bernath before the game, and he said they've got, is it 11?
he said 11, and depending on how they make out, some of those events will lead to other events. There's a nice hit and roll.
Maybe a bit too far.
A little bit too far, but yeah, a little too far, so that'll allow the Bernath team to hit and roll back to the center.
Yeah, and if they can get this one under the red, that'll put a lot of pressure on the.
It will. It'll
Kleiter
shrink
team
up the house for what they've got to play with, and I think Steve Laycock may look at opening up the escape hatch and running the guard into the mess and just try to get out of the end.
Bryden Tessier with his first shot here in end number 2. And Bryden works at the Bellevue Garage and has ambitions to get into agriculture at some point.
Good shot. Just ticked the other red one, moved it in behind the guard. Looks like they maybe moved it out a little too far. I thought initially they would have pushed it just behind, but so this leaves it accessible for Josh Mattern to.
So lefty Josh Mattern attempting the hit, and I think he'd like to roll under a little bit. And Josh is in his final year of mechanical engineering, so another example of how you can curl and go to university. It's just you have to balance your time. Now, will he get by the guard?
Oh,
just nicks it.
A little too quiet, I think, for the weight. You know, all that would have needed is another foot of weight or a couple feet of weight, and he'd have been fine. So this gives an opportunity for the Bernath team to put pants on this one and put the heat on Laycock.
Yeah, there'll have to be some run backs here if this one is made by Bryden.
This streaming production is brought to you by Curling Stadium Live. It's thanks to the efforts of Jerry Gertz from Curling Zone, Everything Curling. He's put together this concept and implementing it across Canada so that everybody and anybody can watch live curling streamed.
This one's coming a little tighter than I think they're hoping, and they might want to get on it now to get it tucked.
To Christmas tree it around the other one, and it pretty much did that on its own.
It pretty did, yes. Very nice shot.
You see the Christmas tree formation. They often refer to those Christmas treed alignment when you've got a few rocks where one is sticking out half from the one in front of it.
I mean, we got this right now.
Steve is asking now, is the shot now to tap that one that's in the top 8 foot to the back 12? Do you run the corner guard into those rocks? Which can be a little scary, but I think that's probably the call.
Probably the call. I think the idea here is to try to get out of this end and make sure you can count one.
However, with this hack weight shot, if he does hit and roll, that will be nice too, because it will expose the shot rock as well.
Of course, the ice maker, James Gordon, the Martensville Curling Club, he has ice that has good finish, so play shots like this where you can come around a tight guard and tap out the stone.
They're on, they're off. It must be fairly close.
Yes, looks like he's got nice weight, a little bit more than last time, which is great.
I don't know if that's,
Yeah,
yeah, that is good weight.
great weight. Actually, about the same weight as last time. The line,
Looks like blue is now second shot.
second shot, yes. It'll be a tough situation for Laycock if Bernath throws the guard that he's called. Steve's probably going to have to look at drawing around everything and coming onto the button with his first shot, because likely that's what his second shot will be, and give him a chance to figure out weight.
That's why I was a bit surprised they didn't try to roll that blue one more to the center line to make Daymond make a nice roll on his hit. But they seem to want to get it as tight to that center guard as they could.
Unless they're thinking to run with Steve's rock the red guard straight back into the blue one and go red, blue, red. Maybe. Not often. The
That,
cat and mouse game is that these guys are
that could be
playing. They're setting up shots for something coming up, and that might be the shot that they're thinking of.
very dangerous though too, running
Oh,
red
no
into blue.
kidding.
So it looks like Daymond's just gonna guard this one, and Steve will only have the button to draw to.
Yeah. Or he can slash the blue corner guard in. I don't think you'd throw that blue corner guard slash unless you had to. Although he's looking at that because you can kiss it off the back of the blue one and into the red one if you don't get the red one.
What about hitting that red one on the top 12, rolling under,
Uh-huh.
and then it's going to give you either the outturn draw for one or the
Okay.
in-turn, or you might even have
Sure.
a runner to get a 3 score or something like that.
Sure. Because right now there's only one path to count with a draw, and that would be the in-turn. But if you come off of that blue one on the outside, maybe there's something will develop. And
Like off of the
red
red
one, sorry,
and
red.
roll across and sit like on the center line,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're going to have something later on with your
It'll
last
be.
shot.
It's lined up pretty good for that too.
Looks like he's decided to go after this one right with his first shot, which I guess will open up something here. Steve's usually very close on these shots. So in-turn hit, how much weight is he going to throw here? This is not that hard, is it?
No, it looks like it's just maybe trying to raise it as opposed to get anywhere to help him.
I'm not going to like that one.
Well, possibly. It lined it up so that
So that
just
you
about
might be able to run the blues
run
back
the
now
two,
easy
but now it becomes a double raise takeout. So
for one.
for one, so yeah, the pressure will be on after this shot if Daymond can block the path into the button.
You know, with as much curl as you have there, I'm wondering if the shot isn't to throw the out turn to get your guard to guard that 4-foot.
No kidding.
Because I think this will probably over curl unless he does set it back and makes it run the line there a
And
little
you see a
longer.
lot of the curlers nowadays with the ice having so much swing that their release is typically just a gentle little set so that the rock holds the line for a ways before it starts curling. On this ice, if you ever have a soft release or a release which is slow out of your hand, the rocks will tend to start to curl early and you'll have them over curling. That was a good release.
It's not going to be heavy.
So the object will be to block the path to the button, and it looks like he's done that
He
all
has
right.
done that really nice shot, yes.
Very nice. There's a port there. And it's tight because if you get through that port, there's a chance that you're going to rub on the blue rock. Or definitely rub on the red one.
Do you think he can see enough to get by the blue and tap the red back, or is that too thin?
Well, it's there, but you know, it's tough at the second end when you don't have a perfect read on how the ice curls and what the weight is.
The other thing is maybe the slash on the outside red one.
It's a real skinny slash. The other one is to run the red guard into the blue one. But the problem is the second blue shot is second stone, so you don't want to remove that and run a red one in someplace to give them a steal of 3.
I'm thinking if they hit the red one on the right-hand side
Oh, yes.
into blue,
Yeah.
they might squirt the blue over to here, and the other blue should go into red, and they might count a 2-ender.
Might be able to count 2 on it.
I think that would be the call, assuming that you're not going to give up 2.
Yeah. Risk and reward. You know, you can get a deuce that way, but is there a chance that you double the 2 blues out somehow?
And give up a steal of 2. That's
give up
not
a steal
good.
of 2, and then you're down 3, which isn't that appealing.
So I don't mind this call. It's probably a safe call to go up. If you go down 2, it's not the end of the world, but going down 3 becomes a little bit bigger.
Their Bernath team executed several really nice draws and hit and rolls behind cover to create the force. Possibly a steal. Steve's looking at something else there. I think he sees something else.
I think he's thinking that might be just a little bit too wide to get around.
Yeah, I think there's that tap back that you were talking about that has some merit here.
Going by this rock, it's easy. It's flat. I'm having trouble seeing it. Like, I'm either going to be out on the hill, getting the curl. I think with that ice I have, it's not curling enough. You have to overbury the foot. Yeah. I think that's what actually.
Unless he thinks he's seeing I think the slashes now is what he's going to call.
Mm-hmm.
And he did make one of these in the A final earlier. That was a really nice shot for a big end. So.
Yes, he actually made a shot like this in the A qualifying game for 5 and ended the game. He made a nice red double.
So we'll see how high Steve lifts the rock. That's usually indication of how heavy he's going to throw it.
Oh, that's pretty high for Steve.
Looks like they've given it to the sweeper this time.
Yeah, it's close, but no cigar. So there's a steal of 1 for Bernath. So it'll be 2-0 for Bernath after 2 ends of play.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Every trailblazer has naysayers, every innovator, cynics, every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. Eugene Ritzik and Dean Kleiter doing some observing and commentary on the championship semifinal game between Daymond Bernath and the Rylan Kleiter team, skipped by Steve Laycock.
Yeah.
And after 2 ends of play, it's 2-0 for Bernath over the Kleiter team. There was a steal of 1 on the first and 1 on the second. I imagine now we'll see a lot of rocks cluttering up the front if Steve Laycock has his way. And Bernath will likely play it into the rings more. This one, he's playing it out front.
And the Bernath team has been playing really good and has been actually putting the pressure on the Kleiter team for both ends so far. So it's
great draws, hit and rolls they've been making.
I know Daymond is looking for some revenge because he has lost to the Kleiter team a few times in the junior provincial. So
I remember last year watching the provincial final. It was a nail biter. Rylan Kleiter had to draw a piece of the forefoot, but had to make a draw with his last shot to win the provincial championship, which he did for the 4th in a row. Quite the accomplishment. There's a hit and roll by Matthew Teon.
Just rolled a little bit too far. I think it might have been just a little lighter than they were anticipating.
Exactly. I think it came down a bit and finished a little too hard.
So it does pop out and give pretty much a wide open hit for David Baum. Longtime second for Daymond Bernath. These kids are still in juniors, Eugene, and I'm saying long time second.
Well, it's incredible with the great junior development programs that we have here in Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, of course, where Bernath has been doing his curling out of the Sutherland Curling Club, the same club that the Rylan Kleiter team curls out of. And yes, they've been curling ever since they were knee-high to a grasshopper, as we say in Saskatchewan. I think they've been curling at the Sutherland all these years, haven't they?
Yes, they have, yeah. The Sutherland has been known to build some really good young teams.
Yes.
And now that they have the high-performance ice there, too, it allows all these high-performance players to get on the ice earlier. We're in there August the 24th this year already, so getting lots of reps in.
That was great to be able to get a club. I think the year before, wasn't it the CN? Or
last year was Sutherland as well. The year before that was North Battleford.
North Battleford, correct. Where they put in the ice like a month ahead of schedule and gives teams an opportunity to get all the kinks out.
There's a great shot by Trevor. Get around the corner. Does it stop in time to prevent the double? I believe it has.
Yes. Pretty close. Might be able to get the one and push the other one over a bit.
Push it open.
Yep.
Or if he just gets by the guard.
If he can sneak by the...
He can get a skinny double, too.
He can get a skinny double for sure.
Probably slid a rock too far.
Yeah. This looked like he started it a bit. No.
They're off it.
Lots of zip on this one.
He did get a bit of a roll in, but not enough. So that'll be a this will
Now
be a
they can
great opportunity for Laycock to now
split the house
split
now,
the
hit and
house.
roll.
So Steve is calling for just board rate from Trevor Johnson, the second
Leave it
for Team Kleiter, who's been on the team for 12 years.
12 years now. How old are these guys?
13. Actually, all four of them are 23 this year, turning 23 this year.
Look at Matthew, just incredible sweeping technique. He gets his body weight right over top of the brush head, which is the most effective way of sweeping.
So they over curled there quite a bit, so that's going to leave Daymond Bernath the fairly easy double.
Double, will it jam? I don't think it'll jam. It should go over top of the red one.
But he will have to get fairly tight to that guard, because if he is out, it'll just jam and stick the blue around.
Right.
Bryden Tessier with his first shot here, and then number 3, looking to remove both the blue rocks. Looks as if he's a little wide. Is he going to get any of those?
No, that set was a little too aggressive out of his hand. Set it back a bit too hard, and the rock didn't recover.
It does seem to be the common mistake when you're throwing that hard weight, that it can run a little straighter than they're anticipating.
You got to be careful. You know, if you've got a certain, as I indicated, on aggressively curling ice, you like to set your rock just a bit at the end on your release, but as you pump your weight up, you have got to release it quicker, so that little set can be too aggressive and the rock will run out on you.
So Josh Mattern will attempt to just guard those two, so prevent that double attempt again. This one is really coming down. Are they going to get it over?
It's going to over curl. They just want it just over the hog line because they've got to throw big weight at this to get the double, so anywhere over the hog line should make it difficult.
I think it did guard it up just enough.
It did guard up enough. As you indicated, hitting any piece of it now would only jam the blue onto the blue. So, yeah, Daymond Bernath, seeing that he's 2 up, deciding let's minimize the damages here. Let's minimize the risk and get rid of those 2 guards. That actually, not only could they get rid of those 2 guards, they could get rid of one or both of the blue ones in the process of running them back.
Absolutely. Little less than half a rock probably runs those blues right into the blue.
Yeah. Not laying a boom to this.
It could have been dangerous too if it hit that red one and
yes,
slid into the house.
It in.
But still mission accomplished. Steve will have to replace that guard.
Let's see, maybe Steve is going to give a little more ice.
I will be outrun a bit more.
Again, lefty's in turn, right?
Lefty's in turns at curl. I haven't seen a lefty throw an in turn, right, Dean, that runs too straight. Isn't that kind of what you lefties are plagued with?
We do, and that usually gives us an advantage.
Yeah, you can get to places where nobody else can,
yep.
too. There was a nice little set on this one. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see this one over curl.
His line looks really good this time.
Yeah.
I think the higher the better, right?
So because
takes away the
they're
double
going to be
peel.
running things back here, so the more distance you leave between the blue rocks, the better.
Came a little bit heavier than they would have liked, but
yeah.
regardless, Daymond still has to remove them.
Yeah.
And now will that blue one go on to red if he does that? That's the other question.
No, I just don't want to block your promotion there. Or we come to here and just tap. I like that. I like that. No more than that. No more weight.
So does that look like Daymond's going to try to run that blue rock on the left side
It looks
into
like
the
it to
pile?
me. Looks like he's trying to run the blue one back into the other two blues and make the raise double.
There will be
A
some
raise
heat
triple.
coming here.
There will be.
And I'm going to get a time on this. I'm going to say it's probably a 6-5. Nice release.
Yes, it was. It's coming. And what do they have here? 1, 2, 3.
Very nice
That was a
shot.
good shot.
And that was a 6-5. Really good throw.
Yeah, very good throw. Still leaves the opportunity for Steve Laycock to draw behind the blue guard and lie two. Steve will have to be careful that he doesn't leave a corner sticking out and leave the blue double, but
And he'll want to stay in front of the house here as well.
yeah.
So I think even half buried in front of the house will be
Yeah.
a pretty good shot, which, however, will give Daymond the opportunity to try to hit and roll under.
I think drawing around and sitting on the tee line would be best here, so that if Daymond does hit the open rock and rolls behind cover, he'll roll for second shot.
Absolutely. Yep. Steve Laycock with his first shot in end number 3, trailing 2-0. Boys are cleaning it right now. Now we're seeing a little bit of brush. Is this going to be light?
16.8 seconds. Won't get to the house, hog to hog. They had to go a little bit wider than they had been throwing, and I think could be a little tougher out there.
They're looking a little puzzled on that one, as they didn't really touch it until it got just about 3/4 of the way down.
Right.
So Daymond now will just hit the sit 2, and that will force Laycock into a draw for 1.
Good release. A little bit of brush.
It's kind of hanging out there, but it should come up enough. But will it stick?
And
yes, it does. So is there a double for the blank here, Eugene, or do you think they're forced into one?
I think there's a double for the blank.
Looks like Steve's elected just to take his 1 and get on the scoreboard. I think that's probably pretty important right now to score a point.
That or hit this across the face a little bit and get the blank. He isn't taking much ice. I'm thinking he's playing the blank across the face. We'll see where Josh puts the broom down. Oh no, this is a hit.
No, I think they're drawing.
Oh, drawing for sure.
Yep.
Well, the guys got fooled in the first one. I think they'll have this one figured out.
And they're just cleaning it.
Yeah.
It must be fairly close.
Well, they better watch out, because the last time they waited a little bit too long here. This is better. 14.6 seconds. Should be on the money. And that it is. So now after 3 ends of play, the score is 2-1 for Bernath over Rylan Kleiter team.
tickets now at Curling.ca.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
Welcome back to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. The feature game is between the Rylan
Walk the
Kleiter
line.
team and Daymond Bernath.
Left or front.
Very messy end in the other semifinal
Patient with it.
and
Go with it.
yeah,
Still going to be corner. Get it over there.
And we think that red did score one in the second. We're not 100% sure as they haven't marked it, but blue does have hammer, and looking like blue is sitting one right now.
That one, first one he threw good. Just kind of maxed. That one's a little wider.
red is Ben Campbell's looking to move up the total.
Easy right now. Gotta move. Line's good. Yep. Line's good. Switch if you can. Gotta move.
And this is Ben's last shot, so it'll be Michael Kars with hammer to try and make something after this shot. Great shot by Ben.
That's going to be difficult to get out there.
That was 15-7.
I guess you could run the blue one. Come through the board.
Yeah, I
Run
think,
the blue one onto the red one.
and you should get two if you can get to nose on the blue one. Well, maybe not, because this red depends if he moves that blue out or not.
Line's good.
That's good.
Curl like it's a bit big.
Clean shot.
Line's good.
Travis.
Okay, Steve's not going to get off this.
Tyler Travis is suggesting they
Run the red one.
run the red back.
Gotta hit it and go. Yep.
The other option is you can draw for your one as well.
That's fine.
Either way, between the bottom.
Just top 12, wait. Right on top.
I'm thinking if he does hit that red one, or sorry, the blue one in the top four, that it will be just for one. So because of that, I think they're electing they're going to draw with the out turn for one. Probably a little safer shot.
Sure. I think there's two ways to score. Draw the red one in there.
Line's good. Give it a room. 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 Looks hot. Easy.
So final shot. and number 3, Michael Kars, with a tie score of 1-1. So this is a big point here for whoever gets this one. Linden home with the clean. Must be close.
It looks close.
We other lob one in here, you just make the peel double.
It's starting to curl hard now. Did they leave it too long?
No.
Little rub and still too heavy. So they needed to wait for the weight, but it still was too heavy after a rub.
Sweeper's dilemma. It's tight, but it's heavy on a draw. So anyway, that takes us back to by the way, we're gonna have to wait to see when they put the score up to see what the score is in that game. But that brings us back to the feature game between Steve Laycock skipping the Rylan Kleiter team and Daymond Bernath.
Big shot here for Trevor. Does he get the double?
And just about. Good shot. Got him off the forefoot. The score in this game is 2-1 for Bernath over Laycock, and Bernath has the hammer playing the fourth end.
So Damon's asking David Baum now just to throw the out turn and try to hit and roll under his corner guard a bit, which will force Team Kleiter to play the run back on the red ones if this does happen. Davids is out there a little bit. He's going to need some curl, and now it's starting to go. And gets right to nose.
Yeah, they were looking for a roll one way or the other, and they got neither.
So Steve is going to ask Josh Matter now to try and do that same roll. Does a roll under the left guard do any good, or does that give too much of an easy double, and then there's then the biting red one comes into play too, doesn't it?
It would. And a nose hit will leave a double, so they've got to roll somewhere. Well, they can only really roll underneath the red guard because there's no room. There's no room to roll the other way.
Josh Mattern with and they're going hard on this one. Now they're off it. I think they're going to plan B.
And well, looks like they've taken away the double by rolling this way, or else there might be a slash double.
I think the double's going to be fairly easy. He just has to hit that blue anywhere.
Just have to hit the outside half of it.
Yeah. If I'm Bernath, my chops are dripping right now at this shot. This could really put him in a good position to hit 3.
Oh, they certainly could.
With hammer. Bryden Tessier with the out turn. They're waiting for it now. It's got a bit of curling to do yet. Will it curl up enough?
No, it didn't. No, the Blues are lying 1 and 2 right now.
That was a big missed opportunity there for the Bernath team to hit 3. And now
would have needed a little more weight to get those rocks going a little faster.
Yeah, I was surprised it didn't throw a little more weight, but it didn't hit much of it either. So I think if they hit it thicker, they're probably bouncing them out. At least one of them is going to be gone. So a great opportunity here for Josh Mattern to put some pressure on this young Bernath team. You can suck one in behind there. I think the line's going to be better this time.
Seems to be a lot of room coming around this guard. And
This one
the
might go
bottom
right
weight.
through the house. Josh won't be happy with that one.
No, that turns the opportunity back to Bernath to call a come around. First one in is going to be the winner here.
I think so. Winner of the chicken dinner. Bryden Tessier with his second shot here, and number 4, looking to get one around that blue guard and sit shot rock. They haven't swept this one either. I think he's got a bit, or they're waiting for the line, I think it was.
This looks like it's going to take a little rub. And there's more than one way to skin the cat.
Is there ever? I think he got shot rock out of it too.
Yes, they did. So Steve, realizing they're down 1, he's got to try to put one in there to...
What about running that blue straight back onto red? Is that an option?
You could, except that is going to leave at least 1, maybe 2 guards for Bernath to come around with his first stone and really put the heat on Steve with his last rock. So
that's for sure.
There's good finish in this spot. They should be able to get around both the blue and the red rock, the blue guard and the red rock in the house, and park it in the 4-foot.
Yeah, I think the bigger concern is making sure it doesn't overcurl. You're going to have to get by that blue one probably by 2-3 inches.
Yeah, at least.
As they're cleaning it, must be fairly close. Now Matt's going on it. I wonder if this rock is having some issues with them.
This is his first rock again. They misjudged at the first end and again this end. You're right about the curl, Dean. It would have to get by the red one by quite a bit, the blue one by quite a bit. Yeah, they got fooled on that one.
It does leave it open a bit if they can play it. If Daymond does make a mistake here, they can play the blue onto red.
Yep.
But if Daymond gets another one in behind there, though, that's going to be... They might have to still play that shot just to give up 2, right?
Yeah. No kidding. So the Bernath team having an opportunity to put the pressure on the Kleiter team.
And with a 1-point lead, Daymond Bernath throwing his first shot. And then number 4, and could sit 2 after this shot. They're just cleaning it. Jack Reed is just cleaning it down the house right now. Must be fairly
He's
close.
sitting out a little bit further than the other ones. I don't know if this one's going to come in. They're trying to work the rock over.
They're going to get past his red. It looks like it's hanging out there.
And might get another tick and slide in behind. Oh, just missed it.
About got the tick. It ended up pretty good shot.
Still a pretty good shot. It will allow Steve to hit and flop in behind those 2.
Yeah, I think he'll want to throw a bit of weight at this so that he can roll pretty much right underneath, eh?
Yep. He has to roll anywhere for shot rock.
I think
he's got lots to roll to the left side, on the left side.
Because if he does just hit nose, I think Bernath did slide far enough that he would be able to get shot by hitting nose again, right?
Yes.
So this is a pretty big shot here for
It is
Laycock.
a big shot. Makes, the difference will be between a 2 and a force for Bernath.
That was almost a perfect shot by Daymond if he gets by that or even gets a little bit of a nick like they did on the first one.
Yeah. Boy, there isn't much ice on this one.
Yeah, I think he must be throwing a good 6-3, 6-5. No, he didn't lift the rock, so maybe not. I think he set this one back, though. I don't know if it's going to come up enough. It's
Here
close.
it comes now.
Great shot.
And there's the roll that he was looking for. That's a great shot. Now the force is on for Bernath. He has only a chance for one, unless he sees something else here. He's
thinking cross house double, but I think with a 1-point lead, you want to take your one and run.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Hard to believe we're only halfway through this game, Eugene. There's been a lot of great shots already.
Really good curling. Absolutely. Great draws, come arounds, taps, hit and rolls.
So Daymond Bernath looking to bite the 4-foot for one. Did he end up tightening up the ice, Eugene, or was that the same as he took on his first one?
That's the same as he took in his first one. I thought he flared his first one a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, he set this back a bit too. Maybe not as aggressively as the first one, so.
Line looks pretty good.
Skip's luxury, being able to throw two shots the same back to back.
It has to curl up a bit here, though. Is it going to curl?
Wow. It didn't. Wow. It gives up a steal of one. So the game is all tied after 4 ends, 2-all.
Hello and welcome to Pleasureweight Go Live. This is our live showroom. Here you can connect with a live agent that'll give you a one-on-one personalized tour of any of our current models. To connect, just click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You'll be connected to one of our live agents where you can have a one-way live video call. This means you can see us, but we can't see you, but we'll still be able to hear each other through your device. By using Pleasureweight Go Live, you'll be able to ask all your questions about any of our models and get answers in real time. This means you can check out the size of a cabinet, how big is a bed, how far will that seat recline. We can show you all those features at Pleasureweight Go Live.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
Well, welcome back to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. Eugene Hretsuk and Dean Kleiter doing some observing and commentary on the semifinal in this SCT event. This production coming to you on behalf of Curling Stadium Live streaming. Jerry Gertz, the founder of this enterprise, and we've got a great game here. On the fourth end, Steve Laycock hit and roll behind cover with his first rock, and Daymond Bernath trying to draw through a port for one, rubbed one of the guards and gave up the steal.
Yeah, it was a big turning point there, and Steve had a really difficult hit and roll too. He couldn't miss by too much because it was going to hit the guard, so it was a fantastic shot.
It's really good.
And here's a really nice shot coming in from Jack Reed, although, holy, is he going to overcurl and go behind the other corner guard?
Came right around and out the other side.
Such good finish here.
Probably a 9.
I'll have to throw this one fairly hard, I think, to hold the line, to get by both guards.
Yeah, you don't have much leeway here. The port is staggered the wrong way for this turn, but with extra weight, it'll hold the line.
Pretty much the same. Trevor Johnson
set this back a bit, so it should hold the line.
He slid it quite a bit narrow and had to try to correct it.
The majority of the rock was in the inside of the center line, and then when he let it go, it moved back to the other side of the center line. Nice hit and roll behind cover.
We've seen him throw that sneaky shot in the last game too, where he slid that much narrow and set it back and made the shot. So
throwing off the opposing skip.
I thought you're supposed to be old and veteran like us, Eugene, before you can do that.
We do that all the time. We just look at the broom to remind us of what turn to throw, and the rest we just perform the magic as we're coming out. We're rarely on the broom as close as these guys coming out of the hack, so there's a lot of compensating done between the hack and the hog line when we're throwing.
Daymond Bernath just asking him to remove
run
the
double
guard.
Peel. Oh, not quite.
Just got over the top there. If you don't set it and you end up turning it over a bit, she's going to curl on you.
James Gordon, who makes ice at the Martensville Curling Club, also conditioned the rocks before this event to make sure that we do have this curl. So you've got to figure out the right way to release these.
James has also worked at some Olympics making ice, and he's also part of the ice making team for the trials that are being held here
Tim Hortons Roar the Rings Olympic trials coming up. I think the last weekend of November in Saskatoon at the SaskTel Center.
Yeah, and some great news yesterday too, with Matt Dunstone's teams qualified for the trials, which will certainly help our attendance and fan support there.
Yes, got the spot out of Curling Out East, I think in Ottawa.
So Trevor with the attempted come around and
put it in a good spot.
I think it is a good spot. I think they would have liked it maybe a little tighter, but this does give them an opportunity to get around it later too.
Exactly. With seconds throwing, if you come around and you're in the front of the house, that's a good spot. If you're the third of the skip, probably not. But this is part of the way that these curlers learn how to miss if they're going to miss. This is missing on the right side. Here we get the peel that Daymond was looking for.
And here's a good example of why that was a good shot by Trevor, because if Daymond Bernath runs his red straight back and we're in the forefoot, he sticks it, now they're covered. Where now they peeled it off, it's going to be a blue and they're going to have to run back later.
Exactly. I think that was maybe a better shot than what was called.
Yep. So Josh Mattern will attempt to replace that guard. Probably a 2 spot would be a good place for this one.
1 is just over the hog line. 2 is halfway. 3 is just short of the house.
Matthew Towns on this right out of his hand. This one is really curling, and I think he might be a little light. Did he pull the string on this one?
They're working it hard. even Steve Laycock coming out to warm up the ice on this one, and they couldn't warm it up enough. Oh, Josh won't be happy with that one. But
sometimes happen when you're looking to throw those guards, right? You know you can't be heavy,
yeah, for sure.
and when you have those good of sweepers, you obviously a hogged rock was thrown really light.
It is. Good sweepers at this caliber can bring a rock 6 to 8 feet. And I've read studies where under ideal conditions, they can bring a rock as much as two sweepers can bring a rock as much as 12 feet. But yeah, I think we count on 6 feet with good hard sweeping on this ice.
So interesting here. Bryden Tessier has been asked to come around the corner guard, which will still leave a center guard there for Laycock.
Lots of rotation on this one, so it's not curling quite as hard. But here it comes.
Now, if he gets by, is it going to go by the blue as well? That is a tough break for Bernath.
It is. Huh.
I don't think you could do that again if you tried it, Gene.
A little unfortunate to get by through the port and not touch the blue rock at the back, or the blue rock in the forefoot.
Yeah, anywhere in the front, I think, is a good shot there.
And here's one of these shots. If you're going to miss, make sure, like Steve called the freeze into the blue one. And if you're going to miss, be a little bit light. You don't want to be 3 feet heavy. You'd rather be 3 feet light here.
Do you ever come around the center guard here, Eugene?
Yeah, that's interesting. If you know the way in and the weight, I think part of calling shots sometimes is playing the shot that everybody knows how to execute, how to make. And this shot they've seen enough here.
I think he
swept
might have
enough.
pulled the string here. Are these sweepers going to get her by?
Well, I think he must have heard us when he said, if you're going to miss, just put it in the top of the house.
That's a fairly good shot, yes.
Yeah, that pretty much protects that shot rock. Now, you might have to do, as you indicated, come around the center guard. Interesting.
He knows if he comes around, there's going to be a blue run back. But
taking that blue rock off of there doesn't really help him that much.
It does open the forefoot, though, to score his one. That's kind of his goal, right? So if he gets one now buried here, Laycock runs it straight back, you might be giving up a steal of a bunch.
Yeah. So it's a matter, what's the goal here? To make sure you count one or look for two. Damon's decided, let's look for two. Let's come around the center guard, maybe get a miss, and we can pick up a deuce.
Yep. I always tell them, you always want to look at that scoreboard, and you've got a tie game with hammer. Making sure you score is very important. Two ideally, yes. All right, Bryden Tessier trying to come around the center guard without hammer.
And the weight looks pretty good. And now they're going to finish it off.
Very nice shot. Or does it come behind the tee? Great shot.
Great shot. There's a corner sticking out. Steve should be able to pop it back. The scoreboard behind them isn't up to date. It should be 2-2 after 4. They're playing the 5th end.
So Steve's option here is to run the blue back into the red, or you could throw the out-turn takeout because he can see about 3/4 of it, I think.
He could get great results here if he runs that blue back into the red one and leaves his blue in front, his shooter in front, and that blue rock spills over behind it onto the button.
Yes, so he needs to hit about 3/4 on the left-hand side.
Yeah. 3/4, yeah, exactly 3/4. Maybe a little bit more than 3/4 so your shooter doesn't roll too far. 7/8 would be about right.
So big shot here coming from Steve Laycock. He's made a bunch of these this weekend.
Oh, Steve's a great hitter. He's made doubles, hit and rolls this weekend. That really mattered. Doesn't look like this one's
They're
coming
off and
up.
they're on.
Oh no, did he hit and roll back? Oh,
So there was just a bit of a set on that one and didn't quite come up.
Didn't
But he did
quite
get shot rock
shot
out of it,
rock
I
out
think.
of it though.
Yep. So Daymond can freeze on that, but what that will leave is a double.
Double, it will.
A pretty natural double, actually.
Well, if he can corner freeze on it, like right there where he's indicating with his brush, on the side of it, that would be deadly. If he can corner freeze on half of it, right there,
then
it's
there
going to
won't be
make
a
it really
double.
tough for Steve Laycock.
Do you ever play to try to move it an inch, and even if you roll your shooter a bit, not the end of the world?
If he could move it, I would say about 4 inches and sit on half of it still, that'd be a really good situation for them.
But he does have that blue guard in the top 12 foot that he has to navigate around as well.
Yes, he does. I think I'd be playing to move that. Well, freeze to move it back about 3 or 4 inches and lying 2. Because a straight freeze, as you indicated, Dean, would line up the reds for a double. Steve Laycock would have a chance to get both reds out of there then.
Yeah, you're right. He'd have to freeze on half the blue rock to be successful with this shot. And this is the out turn that he threw twice last end that just ran really straight on him. So we'll interested to see what will happen here.
Boy, that seems like a lot of ice to me. And I sense Daymond's rocks. Oh, there he goes. He must have heard us. He's narrowed the broom down. I think that looks better. A little less yet, he's saying. Going through his pre-shot routine, visualizing the shot and not seeing it right, so changing up the ice. Oh, they're hard on it early.
Right out of his hand. This one's looking pretty good.
It doesn't look like it's curling enough, but it does finish well in the house here, doesn't it?
It sure does, yeah. But is he a bit heavy? No, perfect shot.
Just what the doctor ordered. What a great shot.
You couldn't have come down and set it down any better than that.
You just couldn't. Well, can Steve come off of this rock with a hard double and bounce the other one out? Yeah,
I don't think the angle's there to bounce out the red. I think the red's going nowhere.
I don't think it is. You're right. I think he's got to hit the top red one and try to
just roll on top and hope he can't draw for 2.
Shrink the house for the second point for Daymond Bernath.
So 3 big shots by the Bernath team here have got them in a really good situation.
That was a killer shot that Daymond just made.
The other option, Eugene, is do you draw down to that? Because you are second shot right now.
You are, except you may cluster things up if they're not lined perfectly and get rid of and allow them to get rid of both blues. But yeah, if you sit on half of it, I can't see anything more than a deuce for the Reds.
But if you don't get to nose on that red one, then Daymond just has a nose hit for 2, right?
Mm-hmm. And if you sit in the hole between those 2 red ones, or just on the corner where that brush is, but on the skinny edge of it, they might be able to double it out. through the port for 3.
I kind of like the draw, because they
Yeah,
can't. But you're going to still give Daymond the tap for 2, right?
yeah,
He should be able to tap to the
yeah,
button, but that'll be tough.
yeah. If he sits on a corner of the red one, while they're
You don't really want to move that blue out, I don't think, do you?
no, it's or maybe there's a good call. Maybe move the blue back a little bit to expose the red one so that there isn't the backing anymore. If you can come right on the nose of that red one and move the blue one back a bit,
As long as you get to nose, because you
yeah,
don't
you
want to
have
be
to get
hitting
to
half a
nose.
rock.
If
That
you
could
do
be a
that
hit
with
for
half a
3.
rock, they'll leave a wide open hit for 3.
Yep. I don't know. I'd almost say hit that rock and roll under. Like
Yeah,
Steve's just saying that right now.
yeah.
He just threw that hit there too. Maybe the coach should call a timeout.
He's the coach. I think he just called it on himself. Well, either way, the point is they've got to get a rock in front of that shot rock somehow.
Yep.
And there's 2 ways to do it. You either draw it or you hit and roll.
Is he
And
thinking he can get shot? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think he just shrinks the house. If he hits and rolls on top of it, he'll only leave the outside edge of the button for Bernath to draw for 2.
I think what he is worried about the hit and roll, Eugene, is that if it only rolls to center, it's just a nose hit
Yes,
for 2,
for 2.
right?
Or if he hits and somehow comes to the inside of the red one and the blue one pops back, yeah, he could. No,
That's why I think the freeze is the shot, even if you came light, like a guard. What does he do? Like a top 8 foot or top
that's a
12?
very good point because
I,
Bernath is
I guess
then has to draw.
Bernath can play the in off as well, though, can he?
Yes, he can right now
For
for
2.
2.
Well, they're definitely taking a lot of discussion about it. It looks like the hit is what they're deciding to do, which I think is the right call.
Again, the objective here is to get a rock on top of the Bernath stone that Daymond just drew in and make his shot for 2 difficult.
That was just a fantastic shot there by Daymond.
Couldn't have put it down. Come put it down better than that.
So Steve's last shot here on end number 5. Looking to hit and roll on top of the red. Cleaning it. And Matt's hard on it. Is this one over curling?
Oh, it looks close. Looks really close. Oh, what a good shot.
Fantastic shot.
That really shrunk the house for Bernath, I think.
Daymond has the button, or does he have a nose hit?
Oh, he might have a nose hit because that red rock is protected with backing from the blue stone, so
I think the red does go.
yeah, the red does go
if
with
he
a
does
nose
hit
hit.
the
You're
blue.
right. It's not the blue rock isn't protecting the red one. With a slight tap, it is, but with a big weight double that he has to throw, not a chance. So yeah, that's the best Steve could have done is to shrink the house for Bernath for his second point. He's got to get a good chunk of the button
Yeah.
for 2.
And he's only got half the button showing.
Boy, that looks like that's tight ice.
It does look like tight ice.
And again, Daymond outturn, tends not to curl that aggressively for the first part of the way, so we'll see how he releases this, and there it goes back a
He
bit.
gave it a good set, so it should
yeah, it was a
run.
good set, so maybe he's got to remember, they got to remember he's in fresh ice out there. This is the widest they've gone for a few rocks.
His line looks really good.
Line looks good. Oh, what's the weight like, though? Just a bit heavy. Oh,
That one sure
well, I'll be
ground down,
darned.
didn't it?
Did it
Great
ever.
shot.
Yeah, for 2. Well, after 5 ends, Bernath goes up 4-2.
Get your tickets now at Curling.ca.
Hello and welcome to Pleasureway Go Live. This is our live showroom. Here you can connect with a live agent that'll give you a one-on-one personalized tour of any of our current models. To connect, just click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You'll be connected to one of our live agents where you can have a one-way live video call. This means you can see us, but we can't see you, but we'll still be able to hear each other through your device. By using Pleasureway Go Live, you'll be able to ask all your questions about any of our models and get answers in real time. This means you can check out the size of a cabinet, how big is a bed, how far will that seat recline. We can show you all those features at Pleasureway Go Live.
You silence the doubters. You get the best tools. You work with the right people. You look to the future and bust through.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. Eugene Ritzuk, along with Dean Kleiter, observing and commentating on the A semifinal game here today between Daymond Bernath and the Rylan Kleiter team, which is being skipped by Steve Laycock. And Daymond just made a great draw with his last rock in the 5th end to go up by 2 in this game. In the other A semifinal, Dean, do you have a score there?
Yeah, Ben Gamble picked up 1 in the 4th and is now trailing Michael Carr's 4-3, playing the 5th, or sorry, after 5, that is.
Yeah. I said the A event. This is the championship event.
Semifinals.
Gamble and Kleiter team qualified out of the A, and Cars and Bernath worked their way through the B and the C.
Matthew Tan looking to come around to his nice corner guard he just threw. He had to get on this one early, as I think it was a little lighter, so kept it a bit straighter.
Yep, and now it's finishing.
Now they're getting a nice finish. It's a great shot.
Good old James Gordon ice. Great finish from the hog line in. I've curled off and on in Martensville for at least 15 years, and this is the best I've seen the ice. Where were you when we were curling in the men's spiels here, James? We could have used you 15 years ago. Mind you, I have to admit, they used to have a men's cash spiel, and we won it 6 out of the first 6 years that they had it. So I can't complain about the ice. It obviously didn't bother us, but I would have loved to have curled on this kind of ice. Oh, somebody blew a cap off the end of their push broom. Good thing they didn't hit the rock, because that would have been a burnt rock.
There's a very nice shot by David. Oh, just a bit of a tick. Probably
Yeah.
they swept it a little
Might have
bit too
opened the
much.
door to tap this back and flop in behind to be line 2 behind cover.
It's one thing I never like to see teams do is chase around corner guards when
Yeah,
you don't have hammer. Like if you're going to come around a guard, come around your center guard.
that's right. I don't know how many times we've tried it over the years and learned years ago. Chances are it's not going to work in your favor.
Because you put up that center guard for a reason, right? Big shot here for Trevor Johnson if he can get this hit and roll under.
That was a good release.
Must be very close. They were on it, now off it. And Matthews coming in to finish it up. Very nice shot.
There it is.
Did he move it enough?
Any amount is good enough, because I don't think that red rock will be there at the end of the game yet.
Very good point.
And here's
David
the peel.
Baum, just a straight peel.
Straight peel.
No problem there.
Steve's going to have to play the offense here. He's got the hammer. As you indicated earlier with Bernath not coming on the center guard, now that allows Laycock to use that center guard that was thrown there by the Bernath team.
Now, do you think if that red one wasn't shot, does Steve guard the corner double?
Interesting.
But I think the goal is 2, so this should guarantee you 2 if you can keep this going, right?
Yeah.
Line's good. Top 8. Okay, top 8's perfect. Line's good.
Trevor Johnson with the in turn come around center. Line's looking pretty good.
Gotta go. Line's good.
Great line. Good weight.
Where's he get it? Where's he get it?
They can bring it in here now for shot rock.
Came out the other
came out
side.
the other side.
Peel. Hit it a hair low.
Bernath going straight for the double blue peel.
And there's enough separation there. You can should be relatively easy double.
He won't be saving a shooter, and he's got to hit the top one quite fine because it's got the entire width of the house too.
With that ice, he looks like he's trying to hit and roll in, is he not?
Oh, maybe he's playing the nose hit to be line 2. He's got shot rock now. Yes, they're playing the nose hit to line 2.
That did not work out well for them.
No, because that leaves a red double now, and Laycock could lie 3. Or is
he could play the red double, however, that will just leave them another double for the blue. So I think he's looking at rolling under the. That would be for now, right?
Correct.
It's a little early.
There's no point. You're right. Like I said, that red one at the back of the house will likely not be there when the end is over. So.
However, if he does make the double, I'm sure they won't be upset about that either.
No.
Josh Mattern, first shot here, and number 6, looking to hit and roll under the center guards. Just cleaning it. Now Matt's on it hard.
Pretty close.
This one is really curling. They're not going to like that one at all.
No. Again, maybe a little too soft.
I think a little light there, yeah.
Yeah, that happened once before.
This is fair. How much do you have?
So now Daymond looking like he can maybe make the double on the Blues here, I think, eh?
Yep. Yes, or at least a hit and roll to be lying 2.
That was a big opportunity missed there for the Kleiter team to sit.
Yeah.
Brian Tessier with the out turn, double attempt. He looks pretty tight on this. Are they going to get it by? Yes, they are.
Oh.
Does roll across the
Oh, but
top.
hit it a little too full, rolled across the top.
So again, the opportunity to hit and stick 2, or do you come around the center guard?
Come around the center guard, I think you have a better chance of getting doubles coming around guards and playing. Well, I was going to say play a freeze back there, but you could also play a freeze to that back one,
Yep.
and then they will undoubtedly play to hit, and then you come around the center with your next one.
This is going to be tight too.
Looks
Joshua
light.
and light.
Oh, rock took the other turn at the end. I wonder if it grabbed something. Oops.
Well, now they're going to look for the skipper's deuce. So if you're Daymond here, Eugene, I think you're coming around that center guard, are you not? Because you're shot rock.
Your shot rock, lie 2, 1 guarded. I agree. I would be coming around the center guard all day long.
So I think if you're the Laycock or Kleiter team here, you're happy that he's hitting this rock. It's the only way you're going to get 2.
Because the first guy around that center guard is going to count. Or has a better chance of counting.
Yeah. And Daymond only has to be in full 12 foot to be second shot too. So that rock's not going to ever count this end.
No.
So Daymond Bernath with his out turn hit here. Looking to lie 2. This one's running.
Wow. Is it ever?
Is he going to get any of this?
He might take it in for shot. Oh my goodness. No, he didn't take it in for shot.
Well, when I said that blue wasn't going to score, it still might score, I guess, now.
Well, and I said the red one wasn't going to be there at the end of the game. Well, they moved it, but it's still in play.
There. So no one wanted to take control of this game here. Everybody's kind of letting everybody off the hook. And these games, Gene, as you know, the big games are won in 6, 7, and 8.
They are, and with the team that capitalizes on the opportunities. And there's an opportunity here for Steve Laycock to come around top of the 4-foot buried. Steve rehearsing his shot in his mind. The weight mostly here.
He has come up light a couple times with this rock,
Yes, he
so
has.
we're going to
With his
see what
first rock,
happens
he
here.
has. Twice this first rock has been light. And hopefully he's thinking that.
This one's light too, I think, Eugene.
I think you're right. This is the 3rd time he's come up light with this first rock. Or has he come up light? No, he hasn't.
Oh boy, are those guys sweeping that one.
My goodness. I wonder if I could hire them to sweep for our Masters team.
So Daymond has to play now big. Does he gamble and draw one in there?
Or does he shrink the house for 2? That's what Steve Laycock did last end with his last rock, but Daymond Bernath rose to the occasion and drew a good chunk of the button for his deuce.
Or do you ever give him do you ever hit the blue one and say, take your 2, we'll be tied up after 6?
Yeah, hey, that's a thought.
Because if you ever miss this, it could be a 3-ender too.
Yeah, if he spills off this blue one and leaves a red double.
But I like to call this a confident call.
You know, coming anywhere into the top of the rings here, either edge on edge with the red guard or partially around the red guard, will force Steve to go a little wider and draw around.
Makes the scoring circle a little bit tougher.
A little tougher, yeah. Changes the path, forces it a little wider. That's what you'd like to do. Again, you don't like to give the other skip the luxury of being able to throw two shots exactly the same. Forcing Steve out wider to a different path might be a benefit.
Daymond Bernath here. They haven't laid a broom to it yet. But it will come down without a broom on it, as we've seen
it'll grab a little bit of the ice crystals or frost on the way down, and then watch, it'll start to grab and slow down really hard here.
But will he leave a double?
He might have left us double here.
Double for
yes,
3.
He did.
It's a double for 3, but you want to make sure you count 2, because that's a big score to tie up on an even end, right? Your goal would be to force in 7 and score in 8.
You don't want to just slice this red one out and roll out. You're right. The smart miss here is to
nose it.
Miss the double and hit it on the nose.
Yep.
To miss the double and hit it on the outside and roll out is not a smart miss. Sometimes you're fortunate enough to have options. Actually, most of the times I find when a person's in the hack, you should know where you can miss a shot just in case. Just in case you don't have that perfect slide and delivery like we do, Dean, every time we come out of the hack. We're always thinking about how we can miss the shot and still look good.
Does have a fair bit of ice here, Eugene?
There is. It's got to be soft. He's playing a soft weight double, or is he just, like you said, making sure they get their deuce?
Wow, this is really soft. He's going to have to go hard on this one.
Man, there's some great sweeping here if they hold it. And it's for deuce.
Their deuce.
Yeah.
So they were definitely wanting to make sure they get their deuce there.
So after 6 ends of play, we're all tied up.
Hello and welcome to Pleasure Weight Go Live. This is our live showroom. Here you can connect with a live agent that'll give you a one-on-one personalized tour of any of our current models. To connect, just click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You'll be connected to one of our live agents where you can have a one-way live video call. This means you can see us, but we can't see you, but we'll still be able to hear each other through your device. By using Pleasure Weight Go Live, you'll be able to ask all your questions about any of our models and get answers in real time. This means you can check out the size of a cabinet, how big is a bed, how far will that seat recline. We can show you all those features at Pleasure Weight Go Live.
You silence the doubters. You get the best tools. You work with the right people. You look to the future and bust through.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic at Martensville, Saskatchewan. This is semifinal of the championship event between Daymond Bernath and Rylan Kleiter team with Steve Laycock skipping this weekend. Rylan Kleiter plays junior football with the Regina Rams, and they were in Manitoba. So Steve Laycock, who is their official fifth person and coach this team, stepped in to skip. And as we were saying earlier in the event, you couldn't find a better fifth man skip for a team than Steve Laycock today. What, 9 provincial championships, I think? 6 or 7 in Saskatchewan.
Seven in Saskatchewan and two in BC.
Curling with Jim Cotter. And, he's shown what he's made of. He's made a lot of clutch shots this game. Both skips have made some great shots. There's actually been a lot of good shots made in this game. And as a result, we're all tied up after 6 ends at 4-4.
Yes, it definitely has been a very well played game and a lot of key shots. And now with the tied up coming into the 7, I think Damon's probably looking to blank this if he can, but right now it's looking like there's going to be a score from somebody, and I know that Steve is hoping that he can force one and take hammer into the last end. I think that's the end plan for each of them.
All weekend here, we haven't seen very many blank ends. It seems like everybody's going for it regardless.
There's a good shot by Jack Reed to get one in the top house.
Yeah. Bernath looking, if he's going to score, looking to get a deuce. So first one in behind a guard has the best chance of counting. Bernath is the first one in around these two guards.
But as you mentioned, Eugene, with the curl we have here, that it's quite easily that Trevor could get this buried right behind the red one.
Really,
in the 4-foot.
The red rock isn't in a good counting position. It would have to be a couple 3 feet further into the house off the edge of the 4-foot, because rocks do finish so well here. You could come around either turn on those 3 rocks that are lined up there and bury. And here's the in-turn come around. Looks like it's headed in the right direction.
Are they going to get it by? Is it heavy enough? And they do. Fantastic
just
shot.
Get it by. Well, Damon's looking for a quadruple here to slice the red one across the top of the blue one, run the blue one into the red and blue, and everything except the blue at the back of the house to leave the play.
This is probably the most important shot that a second throws, is opening up and blowing up the house, right?
Yeah. So often we see that the 6th rock, because of the free guard zone rule, you can't peel guards until after the 5th rock is thrown. So often this weekend we've been noticing that the 6th rock is usually a hit or a big hit to try to loosen things up.
So Dave is not going to be happy with that one, just over the top a bit, and opens the door up here for Team Kleiter to get another one even better into the button area. However, they are leaving the red that they
the
can
red
promote
slash
later
red
on.
raise is still there. It's only about a rock width away from the blue one, so hitting the red one pretty much anyway will eliminate the blue rock.
Going good line out of his hand. This is going to be close. Josh is just cleaning it down.
Yeah, this has got a little more room than his first one, which they needed. They were awfully tight on that first one.
Usually means it's a little heavier too, right?
Yes. Now it's finishing. Oh, such great finish on this ice. Look at this.
Just a really nice shot. I think they maybe left it a bit too long, though. They could have got that a little further.
Brought it back about another foot. Would have been ideal.
Still a really good shot.
Still a very good throw.
So Damon's going to ask David here with a little hack weight shot to try to just push that blue through the house and kind of stick right in the top of the house there.
Nice delivery. You see that nice little extension straight toward the broom on release?
Some really nice rotation there.
Yes. But a little light. It looks like he's a little soft on his weight. And it promotes the blue and a little light. I think they were looking for weight through the house, and this rock only had maybe back house weight.
So we're only halfway through this end, Gene, and we've got a lot of rocks in play with 8 more rocks to come.
We've had a lot of interesting ends like that.
Red has got a lot of nice rocks to promote later on here in front of the house, so Blue's got a
For sure.
tough call here. What are you seeing here, Eugene?
Man, they can promote the red one. I always look at, okay, if we don't throw, what's the opposition going to throw? And you look at this house, I see a red raise here to be lying one.
Out turn tap on the red, yeah.
And out turn tap on the red. So that's a concern of mine because he's got that.
There's the in turn tap on the
There's
red
an
as
in
well.
turn tap on the red also. And because that rock's a little further back, that's the more likely one that they're going to play, because the one on the right is just in the 12 foot, the one in the left is biting the 8 foot. That's going to be the easier one to push in, so that's the one that you want to try and take away.
Correct.
Like sometimes if you can't, if the object isn't for you to score points, the object is to prevent the opposition from throwing their preferred shot.
So Josh Mattern with the out turn lefty will just try to throw up a guard to protect that tap. Trevor's on this one. I think that maybe just to hold the line out there.
Yeah, it looks like it's curling.
Is he on the guard?
No. But is it over curling? Oh, boy, it looks like a disaster. I think it pushed the red one out in the open to raise, and you can still do the double raise off of this side. Again, I don't know whether his first rock is a cutter or what, but
I'm just looking at his shots here, and he's throwing 1, 2, 3, 4 out turn, 5 over curls with that rock this game. All
his
five
first
out of
rock,
five
all
out of the
five
6.
have overcurled. Well, that's something, as a team, you got to be mindful of. If you see a pattern like that, you've got to either switch rocks or just remind the thrower that, hey, you know what? The first 5 rocks, 5 times you throw in that first rock, and it's over curled or pulled up short. Some curlers don't mind that if they know it and everybody knows it. They'll say, okay, that's fine. We'll if we have to come around, we'll throw it. If we want it to run straight, I'll throw my other one first.
It's a weapon.
It's a weapon. It's an advantage. Yeah, you're right. It's a good one to have in your arsenal.
So find Daymond here. I think I'm opening this up because he's got some really nice angles, does he not?
Well,
With his red right now.
Yeah, he can promote a red one for shot rock, that one there, and it looks like it's going to kiss off the blue one though.
If he could get the nose on that red one on the top 12, but I don't know
Yes.
that he can that easily. I guess. Oh yeah,
I think he
we
can.
did bump it out now. Yeah, you're right. He
Yeah.
does have more of that now.
Yeah. I think the out turn push on the red one is the shot.
I agree.
Although again, Daymond, and it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Well, you're not going to be able to blank this end, so Daymond has to figure out a way to manufacture a deuce here, and part of it might be, as he's indicating, I think, let's get rid of these 2 blue ones.
What's the call here
He
then?
can't. I don't think he can get rid of the 2 blue
I think
ones.
he's trying to in-turn tap the red up.
Blue, red.
Knowing that he's always going to have this one later on to the out turn.
And right now, this top red one's kind of in the way of the slash on the blue one. So I think take blue, red, and push it in toward the blue one at the back of the 4 foot.
So big shot here coming up for Bryden Tessier.
This is where you'll see the drag effect. Although the blue-red is lined up for the red to take the blue one, if you hit the outside edge of the blue one, the red will get by the blue one in the top of the 4.
Correct. They jumped it out of his hand. Is he by?
They're not letting up at all. Oh, they are now. See that drag effect?
Fantastic shot.
Great shot. The drag effect pushed that red rock away from the blue one.
Now what do you do if you're Laycock here? You
Man.
kind of don't mind giving one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You could push that blue in the road of the red rays on the right side and plug up the come around on this side, on the left side of the forefoot. So if you push the blue one into the red one and then sit right in front of just where Steve indicated with his brush, block the forefoot.
Yeah, and kind of so the blue one in the top 12, just push it under the red one and
Yes.
roll your shooter to the left a bit, so that if Daymond does play something, it's probably going onto red.
If you push this blue one in line here somewhere, you might line up the blue between the two reds, and then you could, for the next shot, throw a red, blue, red rays.
We got 3 shots to come yet for
I think
Team Kleiter, and 3
this is
for...
the blue rock that they should try to promote somewhere in between the two red ones. I don't think you can get it with enough weight to push it into the red one on the forefoot, but just to clip it over between the two red ones.
Yep, so that he can't promote that
Then
red
you can't
one up.
promote the red one, and then you can promote the red if you split it right, red, blue, red.
Yep.
Well, on the other hand, they're saying if we stop, throw up a guard, cover up the red rays over here, how are they going to get their deuce?
Yep, with 2 shots to go.
Yep.
I agree. Because Daymond will have the in-turn come around right now, but he can't do it too soon because it might leave Steve the freeze or something on that, right?
Yes.
So I think this is a good call.
Yeah, just doesn't want to overcurl. If he overcurls, can Daymond come into this back blue one to be lying 2? Nah, pretty
I think
close.
it'll be
He
close.
might be able to.
Yeah, so you got to make sure Josh gets out here with this one.
He's got to set this a bit, set it a bit, and he did. So that part's good. Now it's all a matter of
the
his weight.
It is over curling though too.
It is. Boy, this good finish here.
Does take away the tap, but he, like you said, I think he still has that draw to the back
Out-turn draw to the blue one in the back of the forefoot. They're also looking at the hit and roll off of this red one. I think you'd save that as an escape shot at the end, or a jump shot at the end. I think the out-turn draw into this blue rock will be a better rock for them.
Yeah, because the trouble, if Daymond attempts that hit and roll now, and he only rolls like a foot, now Steve has the double to hit
for sure.
4.
Lots of risk involved if you don't execute this properly.
But I don't know where is a better shot that he goes with this one.
Right there. Oh, I don't know why they aren't looking at drawing right in front of the blue one.
Freeze on the blue.
Yeah.
You can't really, you can't do any harm there.
No, you can't. Rylan Tessier did indicate it with his brush at one time, just in front of the blue one, but there.
I guess the risk you do have, Eugene, with that out-turn freeze, if you ever just nick your top red one and it goes over a bit, now you leave that in off
red double
as well, right? So it's a...
So right now, Bernath has shots to get into the 4-foot. He can hit and roll off of the red on the left. He can throw an in-turn draw into the 4-foot and an out-turn draw into the 4-foot. So he's going to have ways in for his deuce. He's just got to, I think he's got to watch out for what Laycock is going to throw. And I guess the question again is, okay, if I don't throw, what's Laycock going to throw? That's a good question. Would Laycock play that blue raise?
Or is he playing the hit and roll crosshouse double to the button?
I think Laycock plays off of this one. If if you don't throw,
Looks like they must have probably talked about what they thought Laycock was going to do, and they must
yeah,
have thought he's going to raise that blue, so he's going to
I guess
guard it.
they are. I think the in off this red one is Steve's kind of a shot.
Like, this is a hard shot to tap, like to tap that one for shot
Oh,
rock.
correct. Just tap it for shot rock to get by that one. Or they were looking at playing this top blue one. That's yeah. Either one of those shots are nearly impossible. But the in off the red one is not.
So it looks like they've elected to guard the tap.
Yeah.
So Bryden Tessier with his last shot here in end number 7 with the score tied 4-4. Looking to play a guard. Got a good set out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're not touching it right now. It's coming in a little tighter than they were maybe expecting it. Now Jack is giving it to try to get it to curl.
And it certainly took away either one of those shots unless there's a red blue raise now. Instead of just a blue raise, a red blue.
Once again, if I'm Laycock, if I'm not scoring more than 2, I would prefer to give a steal here.
Yeah. Hit and roll to the button.
Now with that guard up there, could he not draw to the button?
You could draw into the button, absolutely. You could draw around into the 4-foot.
You're always going to have this double late on your last shot if you need it.
Although Bernath looked at it, he might play it himself.
Yep. Matt's
And
talking about the draw here.
yeah, and I guess the question is, okay, if we don't throw, if they're throwing, what do they throw? Well, Bernath talked about that hit and roll. For some reason, he has a good eye for that shot, so you got to think he might throw that. The other shot he could throw is the draw around there, and I guess you got to decide which one are you going to block. You can't block all the shots.
By what I'm seeing, Steve is really wanting to throw that in off.
Yeah,
He's motioned that about 6 times, so
yeah.
I think that's what you're going to see
And
happen.
we know we've seen Steve make some big doubles and hit and rolls so far this weekend. I think this is right in his wheelhouse.
And the right shot is the shot that you make.
That's right. Part of it is, you look at what the opposition can throw, as we indicate. Bernath can draw in around to the 4-foot, and he can come in off of the red one. So you as a skip decide which one you're going to block, and then which shot can you best make. And I think Steve is very comfortable throwing this hit and roll off the outside.
He's got ice on a negative ice actually, so he's looking that
Yeah,
it's going to run probably right where he throws it, maybe curl up a half inch.
that's what it has to do. How high did he raise it, Dean? It was at
I think that was about a 6'4" height.
6'4" height. Okay.
He's close. They're off it. They're on it.
No, it's a nose. Now they left it for Bernath.
So just didn't quite come up as enough as
No,
they were anticipating there.
no. He must have been a little bit back because the ice was on the inside part of the rock and he hit it just on the nose. So, an inch or two out, that's all that it takes.
Wasn't far off.
Oh, So Daymond's throwing the out turn here instead of the in turn. He's throwing inside out, which we don't see too often in curling anymore, playing shots from the inside of the house to the outside.
I'm thinking Daymond likes his out turn.
Oh, it would have to be, I think, playing this one.
So if he ever tucks one under here, he's going to be sitting really nice. He's got a couple options there, right? He can roll the double, but if he does hit it too thin, he could lose both reds, actually, I think.
No kidding. But as you said, he could
That's
get the
maybe why
blue double. But with this ice, I'm thinking it's a softer weight.
Correct.
I think he's playing like just a straight hit and roll into the button.
Yep. And that's so that he doesn't lose his...
So he doesn't lose his red one.
Yeah.
Because as you indicated, with more weight, if you hit the blue one just wrong, you'll chip off the backside of the red one, and both red ones would leave. And this is a soft weight.
They're on it. They're off it.
They're waiting for it.
He's not too far off.
And it's just...
Does it come up enough?
Not enough.
That was a great try there.
Yeah. Well, there's two ways to get into the 4-foot.
Yeah, so I think that's the shot they got to stop.
That's the shot that they've got to play.
And Daymond will have that out turn, like you mentioned earlier in the end, where he could freeze on that blue. So
yeah, he has
pretty
to come
important that Steve gets full 4-foot here.
He would have to come just a little bit to the inside of the blue one that's on the back of the 4-foot.
Now, could Steve get shot rock here?
Yep. I think he can get a piece of the button with the way it finishes here.
I agree. So this will be all on the sweepers, because he'll be close, and
for sure,
judgment of the sweep is usually what the difference is here. So Steve Laycock, last rock here, and number 7, with one more coming from Bernath, attempting to draw the side of the button. Sweepers are on it pretty hard. It's not curling
Line
yet.
looks good.
It's got a lot of curling to do yet. There it goes.
Well, definitely blocked this path.
Yep.
So now they've got to play the other side. Not a bad miss.
Nope.
I mean, it would have been worse if he had ended up in the back of the 4-foot with this in turn and showed Daymond the way to follow him in and count 2. But
that was the pro miss.
The pro miss, yep. Missing smart.
It's definitely a makeable shot here.
Yeah, with the way the rocks finish coming into the house, you don't have to worry about getting too close to those red ones.
And Daymond has made some big shots on his last one as well, as he did in the 5th end to...
Yes.
Pardon me, the 6th end.
A good chunk of the button. Well, this will be a big shot for Daymond Bernath. The odds definitely aren't in his favor if he's only up 1 coming home without last rock. I think statistically, the team with last rock coming home wins a lot more than they lose. So. Well, maybe not. If you're tied up, I don't know what is.
I think you're correct. Yeah, most teams would prefer to be 1 down with than 1 up without. But it's probably 60-40%, something like that.
Yep.
So big shot here. If Daymond can get his deuce here, that'll put him in big control of this game.
Oh, this one's sitting way out there. It's got a long ways to come before it gets into the 4-foot.
He's very close.
Boy, this is looking really close. Did they get enough?
I think just short.
I think it's an inch or two short. They're having a good look at
Boy,
it.
that was close.
Yep. So that was missed opportunity, just one. So after 7 ends of play, Bernath goes up 5-4.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
Saskatchewan, you know SaskTel because we're everywhere. Because being everywhere keeps us connected to you. With SaskTel sponsorships, we get to be part of your community. We're here with you, and we're here for you. It's easy to get started. All you need to do is apply. SaskTel cares. Always has, always will. To apply for sponsorship, visit sastel.com/sponsorships.
Welcome back to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. We're in the championship semifinal game between Daymond Bernath and Rylan Kleiter team, skipped by Steve Laycock, who's their coach and fifth man. And Daymond Bernath is up 1, a score of 5-4 after 7. So it'll be an interesting end to see how Bernath goes after Laycock here, whether he goes hard for the steal or plays it cautiously to give up a point and go for the extra end.
And it looks like he has decided to play this aggressively and try to, although their center guards are turning into more of corner guards here right now.
Yeah, they're curling quite hard. I think the other semifinal game is over, Dean?
Yes, the Michael Cars, I think they quit after 7 now, and the score was,
I think it was 6-4, and Michael Cars had the hammer playing the 7th, so
Michael Cars is moving on to the final.
Bit of room. Knox, your line's good. Bit of room.
So they've asked Matthew Tyon with his second shot here to go around that corner/center guard, and the boys are standing up right now, so that's not a good sign. And now Trevor will take it all the way back.
Yeah. Get it out of the way for backing in the 4-foot and still leaving it around.
So Daymond says that one's not good enough. I'm going to go around this one. Make it better. Yeah, Matthew had to be in the top of the house there.
Mm-hmm.
That was big.
It would be a counter, plus it would be in the way for Bernath to come around, which would have been a double whammy had he put it
Jack's off. Jack's
on
off.
the other side of the 12-foot from where it is.
It's never
David
Jack.
Baum getting
It's
by the
always,
guard by a lot of room.
it's always Jack. It's always Jack. Mine's getting
Will he
to the
come right
first.
down to the blue one?
If you
It looks like they're sliding pretty good here.
hard, 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 hard. Big toss.
Now it finishes.
I think I might have got on that one a little quicker because that does leave Laycock an opportunity to tap that through and sit two.
Yeah. Well, it looks like Steve is just playing to, okay, right to move it back.
No, I'd just be back line.
Just back line weight. Doesn't really have to remove it because rocks in the back of the house are just good for them.
I kind of like the freeze.
Just has to get it out of the way.
Actually, now even a freeze he's calling. He's got to be careful with the freeze though, because Daymond will guard that up for sure. Not sure I like that call.
Yeah, I'm not sure what his end plan is here, but we're still early in the end. I'm sure Steve is thinking that there'll be opportunities to move things around.
Line's great.
Putting it on top of the red one will protect it
Get out there.
from being removed, so
Do everything.
you might have an opportunity to
Keep it coming. Keep it
bump
coming.
this back later, and
Okay.
oh, that one over curled.
They were like this. Just like a 3 on frozen on that.
So a little light and a little over curl.
So Bernath wants to get just at least a piece around that guard, halfway between the house and the two guards out front.
Line slow. Yep, yep. Hard! Really gotta go.
This one is really tight.
Heads down, just
Yeah.
trust me. Go. Hard! Hard!
Tight and light. But if he does bounce off of it, it will give him a guard on that shot rock,
And
which isn't a bad.
that it did. No, ended up in a good spot. Now I think Steve can come around with the out turn, maybe, and move that blue one back, or he's got to make sure he counts one this end, so he might be opening the escape hatch.
Do you ever get the drag effect on this one that will
Yes,
run?
you can.
If you hit
You're right.
the guards that are corner guards anywhere, does it run the blue onto red
Yes,
automatically?
it does. I think that's what he's looking at. I would say if you hit the outside half of that red rock, that would drag that second red one,
I think almost on the nose,
or
Gene.
maybe on the nose.
Nose will drag it straight into blue
Yeah,
and
on the
into
nose.
red.
Yeah.
I don't think they're looking at that at all.
Yeah, it's really close to lined up.
There's a come around tap.
Yeah. They're far enough apart that they're not dragging.
Yeah, I don't think you can see enough of the blue to be able to tap it in hard enough.
And even if you open that up, you're going to have a shot later, right?
Then you'll have a shot at that blue raise later on.
Because we got lots of shots to come.
Yep.
That's the tough
That's
part
the
of
shot
the
to
trick
play.
is to get this out without changing that.
Or just
Even if
clean
you get
everything out of
killed,
here. From
while the red's
our
gonna come out
vantage,
here,
we can't really tell. Maybe they're not frozen. Maybe there's a half a foot or so between them, which
That's true. We
would make
can't
a
see that.
difference.
They sure look almost frozen from our vantage point, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think you want to push it through here is how you're trying to get rid of it. And you might get lucky on here, actually. Like a 9. Is it kind of that distance where it's tough to change the weight? If we make this perfectly, is he just he's gonna try and get here again?
If you do hit that center guard just off nose and double out the reds, it's a pretty darn good shot because you open up the center.
Yeah.
But they are looking at the shot we were talking about as well.
I think it's really close to doing that.
You might be able to get rid of all three of those red.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that.
And especially the one in the 4 foot.
Not me. Nick, maybe. Be able to halfway get this
Kind of like that call. It's probably shooting that back red one past the blue,
It
right?
will.
Because of the drag. There you can see there is a bit
Yeah,
of room there, actually.
there is quite a bit of room between them.
So it might run it into there yet.
Yeah.
I like that skull.
You hit about a third, good.
Probably has to hit it almost in the crotch. Trevor Johnson, second shot and number 8, big shot here.
Oh, they're waiting for it.
Ooh, not gonna
Never
like that one.
accomplished a whole lot here.
Didn't give it a chance.
No.
Right now they got 6.
No.
Oh, Daymond will plug it up once again.
Yeah. Boy, they're going to have to. Laycock team is going to have to find a path into the button somehow.
Still 9 shots to come.
Anywhere up from there, from that line.
Yeah. Oh, I guess there'll be lots of room.
It's always tricky when you're trying to plug a hole when there's 2 guards that are high right beside each other, because it's pretty easy just to wick one and open her right open too.
Yeah.
But Bryden's been having a really good game today, so I'm sure he's going to be very close.
Hey, no, line's tight. We're at 2-3. Yep. I don't know what to do. Yep. Really come down. Hard!
This one is really curling.
Oh, is this ever taking off?
I think they
Oh, I
lost that.
must have grabbed something.
Oh,
How
that
did
is a
he
big
line it
break
up?
there for
Nose hit on the red one?
Team Kleiter.
What turn does it look like to you?
Yeah, I'm sure
I
you
think
can
it's
see
this,
about
yeah?
3/4 of it. Just pick it out.
Yeah, just pick it out too.
Yeah, weight doesn't matter. It's going by no matter what.
Steve's looking at picking it out or hitting the red one that was just thrown on the nose and driving the blue one back into it.
To miss that, to hit this, you'd have to hit 3/4. Which I don't even know if you have that much rock.
I think that coming through the port and hitting is the easiest shot.
I would agree with you, without being able to see how tight that is lined up.
Yeah.
Oh, right off. Right off.
Ho ho,
Wow, good shot.
Apparently you did have that.
and stuck it.
And stuck it. My goodness.
That one, that just got by those guards. Do you have a replay here, Eugene, for that?
Only in my own mind.
And then just trying to come here, but I think so. Throw 9 should run straight for you.
So I'm not sure if, I think Daymond needs to draw here, does he not?
Yes, he has to. I don't know what's he playing.
He's playing the hit and roll.
Oh, no reason for that. You got to get one in there. You got to try to fashion a steal. Unless he can get shot rock
He
here
can
somehow.
get shot rock, yes.
No, there's merit to that, but it doesn't look like it's coming up enough, is it? No. Now, Steve, if you don't throw, Bernath is coming through that port, so.
Do you think so, or is he coming with the in-turn draw around that guard? It's a really high set. It's a high guard.
What about out turn through to here?
I think this is going to be the out turn,
Is going to be
or
easier
the
from out
in-turn
there.
draw is going to be the easiest shot, I think. But you're right. There is that port
Like,
too.
the way I would look at this, on the right-hand side, I'd forget about this red one. I'd play to come around the 3 guards in front fairly close.
Yep.
So this one really isn't in play. You can
I'd have to, yeah, that's
If it was just a lone one, then you'd be over curling. By the time you get by this one, the red one, you'd be over curling. But with these three here now, so
ooh, that looks like
again, the
tight ice
first one
there.
in has the best chance of counting with a come around. So Steve Laycock is trying to get Trevor to come around those three center guards to be the first one in.
Sure looks like tight ice, but it could be the bit of a dish, right? So
Yeah,
if you stay inside that 8 foot line,
that
it
edge.
runs a little longer, right? As soon
Yeah,
as you get to the 12 foot, goes sideways.
goes really hard. And it was a little set here, so
I
that'll
think they're going to have to
hold the
broom it to
line.
keep it straight.
This isn't his first walk, is it? So
This is
there's
his
a good
second.
chance it won't be light.
Is he through
Is
the
he
hole?
by? Is he by?
He
He's
is, but is he
heavy.
heavy?
Sweeper's dilemma. It's over curling, but it's heavy. Well, if Bernath watched that carefully, he knows the path in. He's taking a little more ice, actually about 4 inches more ice than Trevor had, which is
Josh?
probably a good thing.
Yeah, because Daymond has had some runs straight here on him on
Yes, he
that path.
has.
So I
His
think,
outturns tend to run a little straighter. He sets them to hold the line.
but yes, if he can get this one through and sit in top of the house,
But like you said, you got to be careful. Once you get out to a certain point, maybe it doesn't come in as much. So
I think there's a bit of just a straight spot if you get
yeah,
on that one line, but if you get inside it, it's going to
it's
curl.
going to curl hard.
Daymond Bernath with his first shot here in end number 8, leading by 1. Looking to draw the
Oh,
top
this was
4
one
foot.
as hard a set as we've seen on from Daymond, but
Once again,
he
we're
got
seeing
too
this
much
one
weight
really
here
run.
again. Is it
Is
too
it going
much
to get
weight?
by?
He's by. Is it too much
And he
weight?
got a little bit of a wick.
He got a bit of a wick, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Comes
And
out the other side. Still think you got to navigate that port and throw one into the 4 foot.
I
The
agree.
first one, I'll qualify what I said. Not only the first one in, the first one in front of the tee line is going to have the best chance to count.
Now, does he have the wide open takeout here too as an
Yeah.
option?
Although, if he does that, Bernath just threw an out-turn draw. I almost guarantee you, if you give him the shot again, he's going to throw it and make it.
I agree. I think you got to throw the top
You got
4.
you got to take this out-turn draw away. Again, ask yourself, if you don't throw, what's Bernath doing? He's coming through the port, and
It's regardless. He's coming through that port.
regardless, he's
Yep.
coming through that port. So you got to deal with that possibility.
And we just seen 3 shots go down
So,
that path too,
so
right?
the way to take away a come around is to block it with a guard or come in first. And of course, you don't want to throw a guard here, so come in first is
Yep.
the shot here. Right there, Steve.
Yep.
That's the call.
And you're always going to have that laser you can throw to get rid of that if you
Yep.
have to
Yeah,
count
if you have to, if
later
it's
on.
for an extra point.
So a real nice shot by Daymond there to put some pressure on
Mm-hmm.
the Kleiter team again.
This spot seems to be sliding pretty good.
Yeah, now that it's been the 4th shot down that same path,
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
and both, and the last two were a bit heavy.
Steve Laycock, first shot in number 8. Trying to draw the 4 foot. Did put it out there.
He did.
It'll curl though.
Oh, this is better weight than the other ones. 14.6 should be good weight here. And a bit heavy. Well, good enough. He's got shot rock, but
Yeah, Daymond
it
can come right on
invites.
top, but it is.
You need about probably a 15-second draw here, or not 15, probably a 14.8-second draw here to put it in the right place.
That one really slid. What did you say the
Did
time was, Eugene?
I had 14.86.
Yeah.
Sorry, 14.68.
Okay.
And I think if you reverse the last two digits, throw a 14.86 instead of a 14.68, you're going to be fine.
So a bit of pressure here for the young skip, I'm sure.
Yeah. He's made some clutch draws this game, and he just got to throw this shot with his first rock.
And these are the shots that will win you a provincial junior championship.
Yeah, I know in your practices you get Rylan, your skip, the last rock of the practice to throw a draw to the button, and that's.
He's
Is
very
this going to
close.
curl?
It will curl.
Oh, I missed the. I've been watching. Oh, it did rub it, huh? Wow.
Leaves the door open.
Wow, that's too bad because.
I thought he was looking really good there.
Yeah. Yeah, he had the right weight, just didn't have the right line. And as you said, there's been several rocks thrown there, and usually it gets a little keener and a little straighter. So when you have that happening, you got to be really careful.
So if you're the skip, Eugene, you just threw this shot. Are you happy to throw it again?
Oh, am I ever happy?
Steve Laycock, last shot for the win, needing to bite the 4-foot. The boys jump draw are out of his hands.
Did he set this one a little harder than his first one? He did set it a bit too hard.
And I don't think this is curling up.
No, he did set this one a little bit harder than his first one. Might have been heavy too. It looked like it had lots of weight.
They jumped it too, which I think would have held the line.
We've got an extra end in the championship semifinal between Bernath and Laycock.
Every trailblazer has naysayers. Every innovator, cynics. Every leader, skeptics. Anyone with a vision for their future has faced doubters in their past. So, this is our message to the doubters. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop invention. You can't stop progress. You can't stop science. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop family. You can't stop heart. You can't stop harvest. You can't stop this farmer. You can't stop the desire to make your mark, make your fortune, and make anyone who has ever doubted eat their words. You can't stop this farmer. So let's silence the doubters. Let's outgrow, let's outyield, let's outwork, let's outsmart. Let's look to the future and bust through.
Hello and welcome to Pleasureweight Go Live. This is our live showroom. Here you can connect with a live agent that'll give you a one-on-one personalized tour of any of our current models. To connect, just click on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You'll be connected to one of our live agents where you can have a one-way live video call. This means you can see us, but we can't see you, but we'll still be able to hear each other through your device. By using Pleasureweight Go Live, you'll be able to ask all your questions about any of our models and get answers in real time. This means you can check out the size of a cabinet, how big is a bed, how far will that seat recline. We can show you all those features at Pleasureway Go Live.
Well, welcome back to the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic in Martensville, Saskatchewan. Championship semifinal extra end. Eugene Ritzik and Dean Kleiter here observing and commenting on a very interesting and well-curled game. Very few misses, but we had one with the last rock. Steve Laycock, it didn't come quite through the port, rubbed, and they went away with only a point instead of the deuce that they needed. The first rock thrown by the Laycock team was a guard. Bernath asked to tick it off the center line, but it hit it too hard and they had to replace it. So the game is on.
And Matthew Ton with two great shots to start the end. Bernath did try the tick shot on his first one and just hit a little bit too much of it, so it was replaced, put back on the high guard, and now Matthew's throwing a second guard. So Daymond now, rather than the tick shot, has decided it's time to go in.
Go in, or actually I think a draw to the top of the 12-foot would be in order here. They're going to have to get
not going to be happy with this one. Well, there's a great opportunity now for Team Kleiter to lock one on the top 4-foot, bite in the button, and put some big pressure on the Bernath team. Trevor Johnson, first shot, and number 9, extra end. He jumped this one out of his hand. Josh is off it. Matthew's now off it. This one has to be biting the button.
And it's coming in pretty nice. Just a bit shy. Well, that's the 5th rock, so traditionally we see the hit coming, and this one a high, hard one.
And I think he could get rid of all 3 of these, Eugene.
Yeah, he could.
If he hits it on the left-hand side.
Yeah. Hit the blue.
Even just off nose.
Across the top of the red one, which would go straight back and eliminate the other blue. Oh, this one got set back a bit. Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be close. Well, he moved all 3 around, but
does accomplish some.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of guards in play, though.
Yeah. Now, what does Steve do? Does he still try to junk it up?
I think another center guard right there. Yeah,
right there.
It's too early in the end to go in, I think.
Yeah, still try to junk it up. Get better guards overlapping so that when you have an opportunity to come around, it'll take away any run backs.
Yeah, because Bernath's not going to be going around it anytime soon.
Bernath he'll be smashing for the next 2 shots at least, if not the next 3 shots.
Trevor Johnson just looking to throw a center guard. Probably the same weight as last would be good without a sweep.
Oh, Steve's indicating that there's lots of room on this one. But here it comes.
I think they're thinking plan B maybe to tick off of that one.
Now they're going to play the little tick. So, is there a port there? I think there is a port there.
There is, but I think if I'm Daymond, I'm still getting rid of guards. Are you not?
Yeah, I think so too. I'm thinking running this red one across.
Ooh, I don't
Oh, I
like
don't think
that.
you have to worry about that blue one on top of the 12-foot. I don't think that's the counter. And I think I'd be running this red guard across into the blue reds,
Yep.
trying to rearrange those rocks.
I see his logic. He's thinking he can stick the red for shot, but I don't think you have to worry about that at this point of the game yet.
Oh, that's didn't change anything.
Tough one for David there.
So now Steve's got to get the.
Now this is their second opportunity to lock one in the top four.
Well, this is his second shot, isn't it? Yeah.
Josh is first right now.
Oh, it's his first. This is the one that's tended to over curl and be a bit light. We'll see how he manages it here.
Trevor's on it early to hold the line, I'm thinking. Now they're both on it, and he's going to be on the guard.
All day long. Well, this rock has been over curling and pulling up short. He had good weight. I had a 4.3. Should have made it there.
So that has really let Bernath off the hook here.
Yeah, that is a slower stone. A 4.3 would have, with the one that he threw, it looked like it would have just made it there. So I'm sure that rock's a little heavier. Or what we used to refer to as a pig.
A pig, yeah. So a little intern hit and stick on the nose here, Eugene, would be really good for Bernath team. And a really good shot. Oh, he did roll under a bit, so this might be better now for Laycock to get a run in there again.
Yeah. Laycock needs a good guard in the latter part of the game to draw around, and he's got it here.
This is a gorgeous opportunity for them to get one in here. Like they called better weight on this.
Yep.
Better line.
No, it's about the same weight.
Easy by.
It's about the same weight as his first one.
Too heavy again.
A little heavy. It was a 14.3.
But still puts a little more pressure on Bernath, but he can draw the same shot.
I just wonder if that first rock of his isn't, like we said, a pig, a bit slower. So this one he could have thrown maybe the same weight or less to get the same result, but it ended up sliding to the back of the house.
Yeah, we talked about that first shot over curling.
Yes.
And it did again on this end.
Again, he's been light and over curling on it several times, probably half a dozen times in this game.
So here's a great opportunity for Bryden with his second shot in number 9 to get one top four and shot rock. Boys are cleaning it now. They're going hard on it. Weight looks pretty good if he's by the guard.
It does. Wow, this is a 14.8, so this should be the right weight.
Great shot.
Yeah. That's the weight. That is a great shot. Now, Steve only has 2 rocks to fashion a steal here somehow. Right there. And hopes that he's got a chance to do something with it next shot. Boy, this is a tough spot. I'm glad Steve's throwing this, not me. I don't know where he can put this one. Like, does he even try to draw around this red one and sit on the back edge of the button?
So if you
Because
freeze
freezing on
on
this
this,
one,
Gene, what are you going to do? How are you going to have to run your blue in on your last
yeah, I guess that's
corner
what he's
guard?
got to count on. Yeah, I just realized that. So throwing that corner freeze, if Bernath guards it, which he's going to do,
Have that option. I'm actually thinking freeze on that.
then there'll be the blue angle raise. This is a setup shot. This isn't the winning shot. This is a setup shot for the next one. That's all he's got.
Steve Laycock, first shot here, and number 9, trying to corner freeze on the button.
Well, this one's out a little bit further than the other ones, well, which it had to be, but is it too far out?
Sweepers are cleaning it all the way here.
Well, that's a 15-second.
Did they wait too long?
Yeah, it was a
They waited too long.
15-second shot. They waited too long. Yeah,
No, I'm not sure Steve will have a shot.
I got a 15.1 on that one, so.
Daymond, even if I don't know that if Daymond guards this, that might be better for Laycock to draw the button.
For sure.
Because I don't think they can do anything with that blue one that he's guarding right now.
For sure.
I'd be throwing the out-turn guard right now.
Yeah. And if you could block off the corner of the forefoot.
But he does have to guard the button. That's the key.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a lot of Daymond's out turns. This is an in turn that he's throwing now.
He did set it out there, so it's going to run for a while.
Nice little set out there, so that should hold the line. Oh, it's starting to curl a bit. This is over curling. This isn't going to guard anything.
If you're Laycock, you're saying, stop, I want it to guard the button a little more.
Yeah. Didn't take Steve long. I think he'd rehearsed his next shot and the ice well before Bernath even threw, because that was his only hope, was to have a chance to draw to the button. And it's interesting.
He just needs T-line, as they say.
T-line. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, a person as sweepers or as a thrower, I've often said, don't worry about the button, just sweep it to the T-line. Like sometimes when people are thinking the button or the pin, they get a little rattled, but this is just sweep to the T-line.
So last shot here for Steve Laycock, needing a piece of the button to force Daymond to make his last shot. They're cleaning it now, must be close.
Boy, this one's hanging out there. It's got to start curling sometime soon. It's just not curling. Just not curling. Or is it? Is it good enough?
Not good enough.
Not good enough. It needed another 2 inches. Well, interesting game. So Daymond Bernath advances to the championship final against Michael Kars at 4:30, I guess, at the Craven Sports Services Curling Classic at Martensville, Saskatchewan. Eugene Ritzik and Dean Kleiter saying bye for now.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next